Every morning, before the sun had fully climbed over the Nile, servants would arrive carrying the milk of 700 donkeys. All of it was poured into a single bath, still warm, already beginning to turn. Into that bath stepped the most famous woman in the ancient world. It sounds like the most extravagant vanity ever recorded, a queen who would empty 100 farms just to feel beautiful for 1 hour. This story survived through Roman writers like Pliny the Elder, who cataloged the ritual with something close to reverence. To a Roman reader, his description of milk that effaces wrinkles and preserves whiteness wasn't poetry, it was a product description. For centuries, historians dismissed this as a silly legend or a symbol of decadence. They saw a punchline, never stopping to ask the simplest possible question: what if the woman in the spoiled milk knew something the scholars did not? A single donkey offers very little milk, perhaps only a cup or two a day. To fill a bath deep enough for a queen to soak, you would need the daily yield of an entire herd. This required an entire economy of animals, herders, and servants to deliver a precious, perishable liquid into one tub before it spoiled past the point of usefulness. This was the brute arithmetic of beauty. People do not build a logistical machine of that scale around something they believe is useless. They build it around a regimen they have watched work through thousands of years of trial and observation. To understand why this ritual was so carefully maintained, we have to look past the scale of the vanity and examine the physical chemistry of the liquid in the tub. The oldest versions of the story insist on a detail that sounds almost unpleasant. The milk was supposed to be sour, left to sit until it had curdled and turned. Inside that spoiling milk, bacteria are feeding on a natural sugar called lactose. As they feed, they leave behind a waste product. In this diagram, you can see those bacteria converting the lactose molecules into lactic acid. A bath of sour donkey milk is actually a warm, gentle, dilute bath of acid. When applied to the skin, this acid loosens the glue holding dead cells in place. It coaxes the tired, dull top layer of the face into letting go, revealing the fresher, smoother skin waiting underneath. Lactic acid is a uniquely large molecule, meaning it sinks into the skin more slowly and gently than its chemical cousins. This allowed the queen to soak for an hour every day, smoothing her skin without a harsh sting. Exfoliation is only the visible half of the story. The deeper magic involves a hidden chemical conversation happening beneath the surface. The mild acid nudges the skin's pH downward, maintaining the acid mantle required for repair enzymes to wake up and start working. When lactate enters a skin cell, it reaches down to the level of our genes. It acts as a messenger, telling the cell's command center to strengthen its barriers and brace for the world. This signal boosts the production of ceramides, molecules that act like mortar between cells to seal in water. It forces the skin to release packets of fats and oils that rebuild the body's waterproof shield. Without a microscope or a name for the molecule, Cleopatra was using chemical signaling to command her own cells to hydrate and rebuild. She achieved a biological result that took modern science 2 millennia to explain. When researchers finally tested lactic acid directly on human skin, the numbers were striking. Clinical trials measured a visible reduction in wrinkles and a physical thickening of the skin's living layers. Walk into any pharmacy today and you will find that same molecule. The exfoliating serums and moisturizers that promise brighter skin almost all lean on lactic acid or its relatives. The queen needed 700 donkeys and a marble tub. You need a small glass bottle and a few drops. The ritual has been distilled down to its active ingredient, leaving the centuries of legend behind. Before you recreate this at home, remember that a modern lab strips away the dangerous bacteria that thrive in fermented dairy. The lesson here is not to ferment a bucket of milk in your bathtub. Today's dermatology has isolated, refined, and safely bottled the exact chemistry that the Egyptians practiced on the banks of the Nile. Cleopatra's genius was not chemistry she never studied. It was observation she never stopped practicing. Egypt had spent thousands of years noticing which everyday things made the body softer and better protected, repeating those practices until ritual became wisdom. The gap between an ancient ritual and a modern science is often just the gap of a name we hadn't invented yet. The past was not naive, it was watching and learning. To find the most timeless truths, we must pay attention and give those who came before us credit for their empirical rigor. Every so often, in a tub of sour milk, they were exactly right.